Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kayla and this is Kayla and the Cards. On this channel, I talk about all things tarot. So my previous videos are actually a little bit more education based for the most part. I'm actually teaching a Tarot 101 series here on YouTube. So I will link that down below if that's something you're interested in, if you'd like to learn to read the cards for yourself. But today's video is going to be something a little different, something that I've been wanting to try on this channel for a while now, which is a pick a card reading. So I'm really excited to get started, but I just want to preface a few things and sort of talk about what the idea behind this pick a card reading is going to be about. So today's pick a card reading is going to be all around the idea of Halloween and the Pagan Festival of Samhain, which is also coming up on October 31st. Now, you don't have to be Wiccan or Pagan or anything like that in order to enjoy this reading, but just somebody who's interested in channeling the energies of the season and everything going on right now. So we're about halfway through October already, which is hard to believe, but we're really in the thick of the fall season. So there's a lot of different energy going around. There's a lot of exciting things that we can tap into, and that's what I'm hoping to do here in this reading. So just remember with all pick a card readings that this is general, this is, for the public. Unfortunately, I'm not giving a reading just to you. So just take what resonates and leave what doesn't, but I hope that you find this inspiring or a few insights at least just to kind of help you out and maybe provide some guidance or just some thought starters and interesting things that you can take into your own life during this time of the year. So the decks I'm going to be using today are the Aquarian Tarot. I really like this color scheme for this time of the year. There's a lot of nice oranges and sort of gold colors and things like that. So I've been working with this deck quite a bit lately. And also the Halloween Oracle, which is obviously very appropriate for the season. There are some more pagan ideas in here as well, but overall it's, just pretty Halloween based, something I think that we can all relate to and enjoy, and just something fun to kind of put in here. So this is going to be a mix of tarot and oracle. Typically I work with oracle cards more as clarifiers or overall ideas, while the tarot will get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty. So my plan is to actually shuffle the cards in front of you and develop the piles that way. I feel like it's a little bit more authentic, and I can really be sort of in the zone of what this whole pick a card is going to be about during the video, and thinking about and talking to you while I shuffle about the ideas that I would like to channel here during this reading. So I hope you enjoy, and let's get started. So as I mentioned, we are going to be talking about the fall season. So here in the Northern Hemisphere, at least, we are right in the middle of October. There's a lot of energies going around. I know that a lot of pick a card readings focus a lot on astrology. I would love to do that. I'm unfortunately not as proficient in astrology as I would like to be, but I think that channeling these seasonal energies that we can all relate to will also be very interesting. But we do know, I think at a base level, that we have some interesting transits going on right now. We have the Libra new moon on the 16th. We have the full moon coming up on Halloween, which is fun. It's also a blue moon, so the second one for October. So there's a lot happening. There's Mercury retrograde, so if any of that is stuff that you're familiar with or resonate with, keep that in mind for this, and maybe we can draw some parallels there. But overall, I think that autumn is a very interesting time in a lot of ways. So for me, I tend to go inward a lot. So the hustle and bustle of summer is over. You've got, sorry, I'm kind of taking everything in while I'm talking, but it feels nice to kind of relay this to you and spread the cards out at the same time. So just bear with me and kind of get in the zone if you can. So, the hustle and bustle of summer is over. We're getting cozy, we're relaxing, we're reflecting on how the year has been. It's definitely been a year in 2020, we can say that at the very least. But overall, it's a time to reconnect with ourselves. But there's also this other side to the season, especially in October and coming up on Halloween, where people play with fear a lot in an interesting way, and I think in a way that we don't ever at any other time of the year. So maybe this is a time that you're, watching scary movies or going to haunted houses and fun stuff like that, but for the most part, I think that people don't really play with fear in that same way that they do around this time. And, you know, that can also get into a little bit more darker, but also interesting aspects of like spending more time with yourself and thinking about those shadow elements. Or obviously death is a very big part of this time of the year. We can see the world around us dying, but it also being beautiful in the way that the leaves change. So a lot of cultures, of course, look at this time of the year to honor their ancestors or to just honor the dead in general. So maybe think about how that's a part of your life, about maybe loved ones that you're thinking about who might be coming through to you around this time, or things that you've lost this year or previously, and now is that time to reflect on those things. So we have our oracle cards. Next, I'm going to add the tarot. So I'm just a very intuitive reader, I would say. I do work with spreads and more specific things, but for today I'm just going to be pulling what feels right to me, maybe the jumper cards, or if I feel as I'm, you know, relaying these messages to you and talking about this overall idea of what comes through to me. So now I'll be adding some tarot. So we think about, you know, this time to reflect, to go inward, to think about the darker aspects of life, the more difficult things and change overall. But there's also all this fun stuff around this time too, right? Like, I think that this time of the year for me and for a lot of other people I know is also very nostalgic. Like, we're coming up on the holiday season, but Halloween in and of itself is also nostalgic. You think about yourself and the traditions you had as a child, or how did you play with that fear idea as a child, and how is that different than what comes to mind for Halloween for you now? So it's really a much deeper holiday than I think people realize. But yeah, overall there's so much going on. There's so much to take in, especially with this year, you know, like, what has changed for you? What can you look at, like the leaves that have changed and are beautiful? What does that come about for you? So yeah, just think about those things. So now that that's out of the way, I also have some crystals that I would like to incorporate into this. So we have this beautiful orange calcite, which I will put on this pile here. This is a Carnelian Heart. Very nice. And then this red Goldstone. Alright, so the cards have been pulled. I might pull a few more later on when I'm actually doing the readings for each piece, just if there's a need for more messages to come through or more clarifiers, but we'll see what happens. But overall, yeah, let's just take a moment. I will zoom in on the 3 piles and then just choose the one that calls to you the most. What do you feel in your gut? Or you could listen to 2 or all 3, whatever feels right to you. But I would just go with your first reaction and which one calls you to the most. And I will put the timestamps in the description box down below so you can just cut right ahead to your part of the video. All right, so in pile number 1, we have the red Goldstone. Pile number 2, the orange calcite. And pile number 3, the red carnelian. So just take a moment, see which one calls to you the most. And once you choose, let's jump into the reading. All right, so starting off with the red Goldstone for my number 1 people. Let's see what's first. All right, we have Page of Pentacles reversed. The Empress reversed. And the Chariot reversed. So typically when all 3 come out reversed, I just flip them right side up. Okay, so a lot of interesting energy going on over here. So judging by the Page of Pentacles, it looks like you have some sort of project that you're trying to plant the seeds for. I always read the pages as those initial steps into some sort of venture, and with Pentacles, this could be something financial or security based or anything like that, something around the home maybe. So you have this initial idea that needs to, you know, take off in some sense. And then with the Empress, again, I'm getting these very home-centric vibes. Something about you being in a place of pleasure and receiving and joy. But then with the Chariot, there's also a lot of movement going on and sort of this way to balance two opposites. So what I can gather is that maybe you have a situation where you need to decide which direction you're going to go, you know? So you have, what's beautiful about the Chariot is this idea of taking two opposites and trying to focus them. So I think that what's happening here is that you are in a very comfortable place, but because of this other thing coming into your life that may be stirring things up a little bit, that you're having trouble sort of taking this page to the next level, to the Knight level, or to the Queen or the King, or so on and so forth, to really get this endeavor off the ground. So let's also look at our Oracle card. So we have the Underworld. We'll show this a little bit more up front. Very interesting card. You can see the pomegranate here. So this card reads, where all things pause to begin again. So this aspect of pausing is very interesting here, especially with the Chariot. So you have this forward movement, and you also have it with the Page of Pentacles and this desire to move forward, but not being quite ready yet. So it is this time of pause and to take a step back, and that's something that we mentioned in the beginning of the video. That's really what this time of the year is all about. So it sounds like whatever your situation is, take this time, maybe the next 2 weeks, as this is sort of an end of October reading, to think a bit more about what you want to gain from this Empress energy and coming from a place of receiving and abundance, rather than feeling like you need to take charge and move forward with, you know, vigor already. It seems like this situation needs a bit more time. And this underworld idea is interesting because it's scary, right, when we think about it. So how do you delve into that aspect? Maybe take this time when you're going inward to think a little bit more about maybe the shadow aspects of this situation. Why do you need to look back and take a step back before you move forward? So I would like to pull a few more cards just to get a little bit more clarity on your situation. Maybe get into a little bit about why there's this need to go inward and take a step back rather than moving forward. All right, so we've got the Ace of Rods. Let's see what else. Interesting. So the Ace of Rods, I'm seeing that there's maybe an unacknowledged opportunity of some kind, especially of a more creative endeavor. Let's get a little more clarity. Okay, Four of Pentacles. All right, so let me show you these two. Here is your Ace of Rods. And the Four of Pentacles. So the Four of Pentacles is very much about holding on to what you have, and sort of this possessiveness and fear of loss, especially of financial loss. So that's very contradictory to this Empress energy that I'm getting. So I'm wondering if the reason why there is this inability to, or this need to not, maybe not an inability, but this energy saying to take a step back is because right now you might be coming from a place of need or of lack, at least in your mind's eye, I would say. Maybe not acknowledging all the abundance in your life that already exists. And then with Ace of Rods is this sort of opportunity here of something a little bit more creative, something a little more dynamic. So I think if you move from this place that is a bit more prosperous in nature, more receiving, more Empress energy, and look at, you know, how far you've come this year. This has been a very difficult year for all of us. So to be able to reflect on all that you've attained and all that you've received versus this need to hold on to what you have, that's going to bring you a lot more, you know. If you have this mindset of abundance, you're just going to create more of that, potentially with this Page of Pentacles energy of whatever this new idea that you're trying to plant is. So this sort of journey inward for you is going to be very enriching because you're going to be able to look at all of your successes, all of your triumphs in recent times rather than your losses. So to me, this is very much about your mindset. And what's also interesting here with the red Goldstone is that, you know, this stone is very much about luck. People can actually use it in games of chance or in gambling even. It's also just helpful in divination or anything that's a bit more centered around good fortune and things like that. So I'm getting the sense that you just need to kind of look at things a little bit differently, that maybe the circumstances are better or maybe not. Maybe things are kind of difficult, which is unfortunate, of course, but I think our mindset can really change things. And I would go into that mindset through this more Rods energy of creativity and passion and what feeds your soul, really, rather than maybe what you feel like you need to do, more of what you really want to do, and that's going to make you feel more enriched. So I hope that this was helpful. I would say to just bring this all back to this season as far as reflection, for sure, of abundance, of harvest. There's a lot of themes right now going on that I think you can take into consideration and will sort of help you on that journey. So I hope this was helpful, and thank you so much. I'm going to move on to the number 2s. All right, so now we are going to move on to the number 2s. So we have the orange calcite here. All right, let's see what we got. Our first card is the Wheel of Fortune. We have Justice reversed. And the King of Rods as far as the tarot cards. All right, interesting. All right, so I'm just going to take a moment, take it all in. So you have 2 major cards that came up, so this is interesting. Definitely means that you're at quite the important point in your life in some area, at least. So Wheel of Fortune, to me, I interpret it maybe a little differently than what is traditionally viewed. I interpret it as some sort of major change that kind of came out of the blue, or was at the very least out of your control. So on the Fool's Journey, if you think of it that way, at number 10, and he comes upon the Wheel of Fortune, it's really the first time that he comes in contact with something beyond himself or beyond the people he knows. It's something that comes from the divine or the universe or what have you, whatever resonates, but something that is purely about chance, and yeah, just a major turn of events in some way. It could be good or bad, so you would know based on whatever your personal experience is. But this is something that, you know, was out of your control, shook things up for you, and has really changed the way that you're going right now. And then followed by Justice, it looks like things are starting to even out. So whatever this event was that happened recently, things are looking a bit better now, or at least more, you know, even keel. And you're able to take this time to kind of balance the scales, of course, like Justice does. So it's not this, you know, wild ride of the Wheel of Fortune anymore. You're now at a point where things are looking a bit more stable and a bit more even keel. And King of Rods is interesting. So with the King, I interpret them as the element of air. So that combined with fire energy is interesting. It sounds like now, based on the sort of whirlwind experience that's happened to you recently, and now that you're in this more stable position, you're now in a place where you can really take charge, you can take action in a creative endeavor, you can really focus on your passions, you can have that fiery energy. Maybe this is something that brought a little bit more zest into your life, something that really shook things up for you. And then for our oracle card, we have Trick or Treat, Mischief and Play. Okay, very cool. So with that in mind, when we think about trick-or-treating, it's, you know, in our society now, it's very cutesy and fun and for kids and all this sort of stuff. But the idea behind it is quite interesting, that if, you know, if we were being legit about it, that if you didn't receive a treat, that you would play a trick, and that could be something a little bit more dark or sinister or something else. So there's this very much an idea of duality here with this card, or maybe not sinister. I would go more with the mischief that they reference on the card. I maybe went a little too heavy-handed there, but yeah, like where do you sort of draw the line of what's fun and exciting and what's a little mischievous? And I think that King of Rods is pretty interesting here with his fiery energy, of how you sort of balance those things out. So I would like to pull a few more cards, just for some added clarity. Another layer for my number 2 people. Maybe what was this Wheel of Fortune situation? How have things changed for you? I just wait for one to jump out usually, or one to stand out for me. There we go. Queen of Swords. Okay, interesting. Let's see what else we got. Ten of Rods. Okay. All right. So this gives me a little bit more clarity into maybe what this Wheel of Fortune situation was for you. We have Ten of Rods reversed, which is interesting. So upright, Ten of Rods is about burdens. But in the reverse position, I would say that maybe this was a burden that was slightly removed from you, in a sense. I don't read reversals quite as the exact opposite of the card, but just a bit of a change in energy or a little bit of a blockage. So maybe this is something that you observed in your life, maybe a close friend or family member, but to where that you sort of provided this Queen of Wands energy here of, you know, being that someone very sure of their emotions, able to balance the head and the heart in a sense. And I think now that you're moving away from that, which is interesting. So I'm getting the sense that there's just, you're looking to achieve more balance in life overall. This justice is very prevalent for me, from what I can gather by everything going on here. There's this need for more balance within. I think that whatever's been going on has been very one way or the other, and required a lot of thought and support and ideas and these sorts of things, rather than fun. Honestly, I'm like, this all feels very heavy, and then you've got this trick or treat over here, which is obviously a bit more lighthearted. So I think it's about you finding that balance between what's fun and what's serious, or what's dark and what's light. And that's so much about this time of year, right? It's about the mix of the fear and the fun. So yeah, I would encourage you to just be a little bit more experimental. That's also something I'm getting from this King of Rods. And if I use rods and wands interchangeably, I'm sorry, it always shakes me up when they are different than the traditional ones on the cards. But yeah, get a little bit, have more fun, be a little less serious, really like hone in on this fun and like mischievous energy of this time of year. Get out of your own head for sure. And I mean, with this, so we have the orange goldstone was the crystal, so that's super interesting because this is so much a creativity stone. So that in tandem with this King of Rods and maybe moving away from these past burdens or this past need to be so in your head, and to now find balance of how do I balance the more vivacious, like animal nature almost of the wands with the seriousness of the swords and all this, you know, duality going on here. As I'm seeing you taking this time to just get out of your own head and have a good time, be creative, channel those things that maybe you were too afraid to do. I'm getting a sense of the need to be more authentically you, to let go of those burdens that other people have put upon you, and to really just, yeah, take charge in your own life of what you want to do and what's going to make you happy. And I'm just going to pull one more. I feeling called to do so. So how can we wrap things up for my number 2 people? Eight of Rods. Okay. Cool. Yeah, this is fiery, this is immediate, this is quick, this is fast acting, this is not methodical or slow and burdened or anything like that. It's almost be inspired by whatever this major change was. Like really shake things up. I'm getting the sense that you guys are gonna have like a grand old time the next couple weeks. So I encourage you to do that and to just, yeah, have fun, get out of your own head, be more like Halloween centric than, you know, woo woo Samhain, you know, Dark Night of the Soul centric. I feel like this time of the year really goes back and forth with that sort of thing. And I want to see you guys for a moment as well. So with my number 1s, I flipped back up to myself when I was shuffling, but I guess I didn't hear. We're trying out different things, so bear with me. But yeah, just have a good time. Hone into your childlike nature, your creativity, your joy, your passions. Yeah, just have a good time. That's really what I'm feeling for you. So I hope that this resonates. If it does, let me know down below. I'd really like to hear about it if you're comfortable. But yeah, thank you. And I'm going to move on to my number 3s. All right, so my number 3s. These are for those of you who chose the red Carnelian Heart. This is gorgeous. I got it recently. I am in love with it. All right, let's see what we have here for our last group. All right, Page of Swords. Lots of court card energy going on today with all the groups. The Fool. Okay, fun. 9 of Cups. Reversed. And Queen of Rods. All right, another court card. It's just funny because court cards are, I mean, I've like pretty much got them down pat now, I'd like to think, but they've always been the trickiest for me. And I'm like, of course, my first pick a card reading and everybody's got a court card. But hopefully this all makes sense. So I'm just going to take a minute, look over everything. We'll pull out the Oracle card in a moment, but yeah, I'm seeing an interesting mix here. So Page of Swords, as I mentioned, if you also saw group 1, but with the pages, I think of them as the initial seeds of an idea or an endeavor or something like that. Very much an idea thing happening here with swords and with that sort of brain focused energy. So there's something that you want to begin, you're taking your time to learn about it, but you're not quite ready to take that next step and bring it onto the night level and really take charge with it yet. and then the Fool. So this is a really interesting time for you guys for sure. There is this urge to sort of take that leap of faith, jump into something new, and maybe that's the push that you need to really get this idea off the ground. I'm not sure. Nine of Cups reversed. So Nine of Cups is typically a very joyous card, so it's interesting when it's in the reverse position. And as I mentioned before, I don't read reversals strictly as the opposite of the card, but more so just a bit of a blockage of energy. So I'm almost feeling like here with this very much a desire to take this leap and to move into something new and get something off the ground, is that you have this inability to be emotionally content right now, especially within yourself and just your personal life. You as an individual, nines are very much about the individual overall. So I'm feeling like you need to take some sort of a push, and that also comes in here with the Queen of Rods. So she is, you know, this fiery queen energy, very free-flowing with her own relationship to water as a queen, but also fiery and feisty and creative and kind of sexual and interesting. So there's this like fiery push right now for you guys to take a leap of faith of some kind, and that's really going to make you feel more sure of yourself emotionally and more stable. So also we have our oracle card. So this is the Lamp, Remembrance. Interesting. So this is sort of coming back to that ancestral idea that I brought up in the beginning of the video, that, you know, Halloween and Samhain and all those times are really about this sort of thing of honoring our ancestors, or remembering even just the recent past of, if you think of Samhain as a pagan new year, if that resonates with you at all, that this is a time to look back and to remember what you've accomplished or what you didn't, or those sorts of things. So overall, with that in mind, it's interesting because this is very future focused. So the idea of remembrance is quite something here. I'm going to pull a couple more cards just to get a few added layers. But so far, I'm just gathering this need to take a risk, to maybe take a risk that someone in your family wasn't able to. Or, you know, you saw somebody else who wasn't really able to bring this thing to light, and now you feel like you should in order to feel a bit more complete. That's kind of the message I'm getting right now, but we'll see what the cards say. So what's this leap of faith? What's that relationship to remembrance for my number threes? Man, these really just, oh, here we go. All right, Five of Swords. Okay, all right. There are some similarities to group number 2 as well. I almost recommend that you check that out too, but let me wait to say that until the end. Six of Pentacles. Okay. Interesting. So to me, this has to do, there's something going on with another party, which might come back to this remembrance idea, if it's about a family member or ancestors, or maybe a pattern you've seen within your family or people you know. Five of Swords is, to me, very much about cutting your losses. It's about kind of not really knowing when to stop the fight and needing to. It's a conflict of the mind, of the thoughts and the beliefs. And then the Six of Pentacles is all about give and take, and that sort of sense of equilibrium. So I'm thinking that there was a situation here where that wasn't established, maybe financially or career-wise, given the pentacle placement, or within the family. I associate pentacles with family quite a bit personally, and just the home in general. So there's some sort of idea conflict here surrounding that area of your life. Maybe you didn't feel like, for lack of a better phrase, like justice was served, or that things didn't go to plan. Maybe you are giving more than this other person, or giving too much in one area of your life and not enough in another. Traditionally, this card would be more seen as that equilibrium, but next to the Five of Swords, I'm getting the sense that that's not the case. Let me do one more just to, this is quite interesting. And that can also relate back to this with the Nine of Cups reversed, this lack of emotional stability within the self. Maybe not stability, I don't want to go that far, but oh, whew, okay, yeah, there's a lot going on here, guys. Ten of Swords. Maybe I spoke too soon. Something from the past was very hurtful to you. There was some sort of a betrayal. There was some sort of, I'm getting a sense again with maybe a family member, or an event that happened in the past that really left you hurt, that left you vulnerable, but things are looking brighter now. Traditionally in the Rider-Waite-Smith card, we have the sun coming up in the background here, so we know that brighter days are ahead, even though this card is so dark. And also with the fives and the tens, you've got this conflict and this completion. So this is over from what I can gather. And now, oh, okay, yeah, it's all coming together. You've got a lot of sword energy here, and clearly these are more of the difficult swords. So in order for you to have this new idea, maybe about, this feels very like individual to me, very pertinent to you with the Fool card, and sort of taking this ownership of yourself as a fiery individual. And with the Nine of Cups, and the nines being so much about the singular person, that whatever this did really challenged how you think of yourself, how you fit maybe into your family structure, and taking this leap to almost take on a new identity in a sense. This is intense. Is difficult for you, because the pages in a sense are almost, they're kind of like core aces in my head. They're that initial step. So to move on from this takes a lot. And I think what is interesting here is with the Queen of Rods, I think it's going to take more energy coming from a place of bravery and almost aggression in a sense. And you've got the Carnelian here, and the Carnelian is so much about confidence. It's about the root chakra. It's kind of a sexy stone as well. So coming from a place of just feeling it really like fiery in your soul, and you've got the lamp here, like there's a lot of fire energy. I think you need to, in order to achieve more balance, come from a place of like strength and gusto, and maybe be mad almost about whatever happened here. Allow yourself to be mad. Yeah, but to combine that with the fall season, I think is interesting. I would almost channel the more, this doesn't feel passive and reflective to me like this season usually does. This feels reflective, but like seeing things for how they truly are, how they're kind of messed up. Sorry if I'm being too harsh, but like whatever happened, if someone has left you in this sort of position, like you did not deserve that. And it was a learning experience for you, I think, in order to just think about how you see yourself. So I think in order for you to take this plunge as the Fool, it's time to channel this more Queen of Wands energy. Get in touch with your, I keep using the word fiery, but just, yeah, like there's so much fire here. You've got, like, allow your, not in a like negative, like harshly aggressive way, but let this like fire in your soul about the situation really propel you forward and know what you deserve and know how to move forward as the allow yourself to bring your spark back, bring what makes you back outside of this other person or this dynamic. Yeah, this is, I would almost bring in like the Samhain New Year energy for you here. This is a rebirth of like your soul, is what I'm getting. Let me say that to your face. Yeah, so this is a heavier one, so I'm with you guys here. I think that there's a lot to, I wouldn't say unpack. I think that you kind of know what's up. Like, you're in the Ten of Swords phase, you know, this has happened, it's in the past, but take charge and really own yourself as an individual. Maybe I'm getting the sense of like breaking ancestral bonds here with the lamp card. Yeah, maybe sit with that. I think if this resonates, it will. If you get what I mean. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for taking a look at this pick a card reading. If you're at the end of this video, I guess you were either group 3 or maybe you felt the need to watch more than one of them, which is really exciting. I hope that this resonated. I hope that it brings you some sort of comfort or something to just take with you this time of the year. I think that it's a really fun time. It's very dual-natured and interesting, and there's a lot from a spiritual perspective or just a more fun, like Halloween-y, spooky kind of frame that we can look into this time. So, as I mentioned, I am not super knowledgeable about astrology. I would say I'm more of it at a beginner level, so that's not something I quite feel comfortable bringing into my readings just yet. But I do want to do these pick a card readings, and I really found this fun to kind of tie it in with the season or to tie it in with the pagan holidays. So if that's something you're interested in, of maybe one for each pagan Sabbath or one for each season or each month even, something a little bit more secular maybe, then I would love to do that. Let me know down below if you would be interested in that. But overall, thank you so much. I will link down below the decks that I used and also the playlist to my Tarot 101 series, as I mentioned. Just if you're somebody who enjoys tarot and wants to kind of take it to the next level and learn how to read, that is what that series is for. But I'm going to be doing more of these, and I hope you stay tuned. Please subscribe if you would like. No pressure, of course. But thank you so much for joining me, and have a great day.